Thanks again for rejoining me on the program Road to 2019 on ITV Satellite, Channel 107, on GoTV and Channel 130 on Star Times. You can also follow the program live on our website where we're streaming it, www.itvregionnigeria.com. Just on the softer side, we'll begin our conversation tonight with the nullification of the suspension of the member representing Ovia Southwest constituency, Honorable Godwin Adenomo. With me in the studio, I'd like to thank very especially Barrister Kelvin Osenha. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
I also have with us a frontline civil society activist, Barrister Abraham Oviawe. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And as I said before, Honorable Godwin Adenomo will be joining us live from the U.S. via telephone to give us his perspectives on the latest development as it relates to his suspension from the Edo State House of Assembly. But let's set the ball rolling. Barrister Kelvin, I read out all the pronouncements by the court on that matter. What are your perspectives?
Well, on that particular issue, I think what the court has just done is to restate the position of the law regarding the powers of the House of Assembly to sanction any of its members. You recall that at the National Assembly, Senator Ali Ndume from Borno State was suspended by the Senate on some allegations that he made concerning the Senate President.
Yeah.
He went to court when he was suspended. And the Federal High Court, down to the Court of Appeal, held that the suspension was illegal. And that is not only the instance. You recall, even Gino Menai, when he was the House of Rep member, he had some issues with the House of Rep then, and he was suspended. It took him quite some time in the court, but at the end of the day, the court upturned the suspension. The reason is this. The court says, look, these individuals, though they are senators, but they represent a constituency.
Yeah. And
that if you suspend them more than a given period,
yeah,
automatically you are depriving their constituency of their right to representation in the National Assembly. And that is illegal, that is null and void. And that is what the court in Edo State has just restated. That's the position of the law. Okay. You cannot deny a constituency, you cannot deny the people of their representation. And that's what equally happened in the case of the guy from Delta State.
Yes. Senator Mo Agbege.
Yes, that's what the court has said.
Okay, Barrister Oviawe, yes. This is someone who, to a large extent, has been in and out of court, and it looks like there's no end in sight as far as he's in and out of court is concerned. What are your thoughts?
No, just to say very clearly, and I think I adopt wholesale the reasoning of my very learned colleague with respect to the position of the court. It could have been less so. Unfortunately, our legislatures, they don't learn from precedents. If you are to take a decision which you know have been taken in the past, and the court have condemned such acts, they do it for the purpose of that. Pending when he goes to the court, he will be out of there. And Godwin Adenomo has a history of believing very strongly.
Okay, we have Honorable Godwin Adenomo with us live. Honorable Godwin Adenomo, I don't know exactly what the time is in the U.S. right now, but here it's early evening, so let me say good evening to you.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so which means it's afternoon right there. Thank you for joining us live on the program Road to 2019.
Thank you for having me on the program.
Okay, on Wednesday, a high court in Benin ruled that your purported suspension from the State House of Assembly was illegal and unconstitutional. As a matter of fact, granted all the reliefs that your counsel sought before it. What are your thoughts on this latest development?
Well, it's a victory for democracy. I want to thank the judiciary for living up to expectations. The judiciary has always been and will always be the last hope of the common man. I have always known that the suspension was illegal, but the problem I have is the fact that our people, for some reason, are just complacent. A lot of people believe that this fight is just am doing this for the common man in the street that would ordinarily believe that there is no hope when the establishment is against their interest. This victory is for democracy. I have nothing against anybody in particular. Otherwise, I would not have gone to court to challenge it. I would have done what is the norm of society. The norm of society as it stands today is to let it slide.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, some people call me and they say to me, this is not America. There are ways they do things here. And I say to them, America was here before.
Yeah.
People stood and fought what was wrong. People stood and fought the heroes of society. That is why we all come here today in America. Today, America is regarded as the land of the brave and the home of freedom.
Okay, but let me just ask you this question before we let you go. What's your next line of action as a result of this judgment? Yes, what's your next line of action?
The next line of action is to come and resume, because what I have is what I call a declarative judgment.
Okay.
Even if you appeal, you cannot stay. No court will grant you a stay of execution. So when I will come and resume, I have nothing against anybody, so I can effectively represent my good people of Ovia Southwest. This is a victory for all of us. Even the people, listen to this.
Yeah.
Even the people that believe they are fighting me today, tomorrow, they will cite my case to stand for them when they are on the other side.
All right, Honorable Godwin Adenoma, I want to thank you for your time with us on the program Road to 2019.
I thank you so much for having me, and I will encourage you guys to have shows like this. I wish you give me more time to talk on the issue, but I'm coming home now to come and resume, and I have nothing against anybody. I'm just doing what is right, and I hope the people see that way, that I'm doing what is right, and I'm fighting for my right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Honorable Godwin Adenoma is the member representing Ovia Southwest constituency in the Edo State House of Assembly, live with us on the program Road to 2019 from the U.S., who has been on holiday, bearing his mind on the recent development over his suspension by the State House of Assembly. Thank you so much again for joining us. Well, Bryce Oviawe, yeah, I'm sure we've established that point that we wanted to make, but is there something more you wanted to add to what you said?
Yes, just to say very consistently that Honorable Godwin Adenoma has been one man who have consistently questioned the status quo. He, as a party man, he believes very strongly that first he must enjoy his rights. And if there are issues he feels are not comfortable, rather than involve or embark on issues of thuggery, he constantly have gone to court. And we saw that how patient he was till the Supreme, even when the Supreme Court had given judgment that he be reinstated, the Edo State House of Assembly, the Speaker refused. He was caught between from 48 and 49 before he had to hurriedly, like we saw in the case of Gallant Commander Peter Eruaga, when the then Speaker, who is currently the Deputy Speaker, had refused to swear them in, and now.
Yeah, but they said they were waiting for the proper documentation.
Yes.
There's a due process for everything.
So somebody have followed this issue. They have been served with the judgment of the court. And the Supreme Court judgment, the Speaker himself was present in Abuja, the Supreme Court, when the judgment was delivered.
But that's not enough.
He was also served.
Have a document.
Yes.
Effect, yeah.
When he was served for 48,
yeah.
he didn't request for the judgment anymore.
Okay.
He had to actually. Let me just say very strongly
that
our legislature must learn from precedents. Let's not continue to play politics with the interests of the people. When you suspend your colleague for that length of time, for agitating a man have been reinstated for over 6 months, you have been refused to pay his entitlement. Now that the matter is already in court, I am aware that they have been paying interest. Where the politics with the interest of the people? You have suspended the people of Ovia Southwest, where he currently represents. I'm talking seriously, no representation. Decisions are taken. The representative is not there to make his input, and you are happy. Then tomorrow you want to come back to the people, become the narration of those who have formed this work, of those who suspended him, and they set up a committee that gave report in 24 hours. Whereas in June 2015, I wrote a petition to the House of Assembly against teachers who were being oppressed. As I speak to you now, as of last week, I am still putting pressure on the committee handling it to come out with their report. 3 years running.
Okay.
3 solid years.
Pastor Fiawe,
24 hours.
We'll leave that for another day, so we don't. We stay on course on what we're looking at today on the program Road to 2019. I started by saying that a major issue in the politics heralding 2019 election is the alliances that is going on between the PDP, APC, and other political parties. What is the prospects of this alliance ahead of 2019 election? That's our major talking point. Mr. Osanha, we are back to where we were in 2014, 2015. Isn't that what this alliance seems to represent, in your own opinion?
Well, it is. It is, and it's very, very unfortunate that Nigeria is going back while the whole world is moving forward, politically, democratically. That is one. And secondly, our people are being subjected to the same drama, to the same Nollywood
precisely
directed drama, you know, because these are the only this scenario can only be imagined, can only be seen a script written by a director in Nollywood. That's what I see. It's very, very rather unfortunate, but you see, you can't take this away from politicians, because at the end of the day, what this shows is that, look, it is the interest of the politicians that they are pursuing and nothing more. It's not about delivering good leadership. It's not about delivering dividends of democracy to the people, to the majority of people. It is not. It's just the politicians, how they better their interest. That's all. You know why? Let me tell you, a group of people or a group of persons felt aggrieved in PDP in 2015 that, look, we are not being treated fairly. There's no internal democracy in PDP. What do? You looked at the opposition then and said, look, let us come and join you so we can wrestle power from the PDP, who has ruled for 16 years and there is nothing to show for it. Nigerians have been suffering. So corruption has been entrenched to the highest level. Let us leave. Now you went and formed an alliance with the opposition. Barely 3 years on, you're already shouting. And those who are shouting are the same group of persons who left the PDP then. They are not new set of persons now. What they have just done is just pick 1 or 2 persons from the opposition then to be the face. But those who are actually agitating for the joining that with PDP again now, and the other political parties, are the same group of persons who left PDP. So what it means is that, look, there is nothing new in the whole thing. It is the same cry that they cried in 2015, that is the same cry they are crying now. So for me, I think it's they are playing on the intelligence of Nigerians. And if Nigerians fall for this whole gimmick again, then I think we are not actually ready for the kind of democracy that we crave and the kind of democracy that we yearn for.
Okay.
Yes.
Pastor Fiawe, are there realities, are there things on the ground which, in your opinion, may have fueled this alliance that we are seeing? First, we saw the factionalization of the ruling party, which of course followed by the alliance and the MOU signing ceremony, so to speak. Are there undercurrents that you think may have fueled these alliances?
Yeah, absolutely. Just to say very strongly that, and I think I agree with my very learned colleague when he asserted very strongly that the crops of individuals that form the bulk of the now reformed APC, the Galadima-led APC, were these individuals who consider themselves into the new PDP prior to 2015 elections. And on the strength that I agree very strongly that Nigerians had critically complained in 2015 of the activities of the then ruling party, the PDP, and they had clamored for what they call change. Though they have now made us to know that change in itself is relative. It could be from bad to worse. It could also be from good to better. We have seen that in the last 3 years. Just to say very strongly that where I agree that these are the crops of individuals, but just to say that the government which they were part of and helped to install have not created any platform for anyone to think positively of them. Is it economic prosperity? Is it security? Is it respect for human rights? See what has happened in Ekiti very recently. On each day, while they were there, people were being killed.
We'll get there.
No, I am trying to tell you very strongly that it will be easy for some of us to have naturally discarded the whole essence of the MAU to say these people are political jobbers. They have done same thing in 2015, and here they are again. It was relevant for them to do in 2015 because the cries of the people were quite huge. But as we speak now, what has changed from 2015 to this time? What were the indicators? Is it the instability? Is it still very equivalent? Is it the reviving of the economy? Or economic prosperity as we had in 2015? The answer is no. I conceive that very strongly that in the quest to a true and egalitarian society, man as an individual must move from process to process. Man as an individual must be humble to say, I was part of this train here yesterday. We had agreed that this train was going to take us to the El Dorado, but we have discovered either by way of political interest or by way of greed or by shared greed, we were unable to drive sail this ship to the destination. There is need for us to engage the reverse gear. I think one of the problems with those who have considered themselves as reformed APC, because the APC, the level of respect as a party at the federal level, have not delivered to Nigerians their electionary campaign in 2015. And as such, if there is a conglomeration of political parties pulling their rope and MOU to ask for your citizen of that same party in 2019, there are justification. That is not to say very strongly that the individuals who are also clamoring for the enthronement of a new order in 2019 are sent. They are part of the problem of this country. When we say the third force, we need that very force, that we have the democratic thinking, that we have the capacity not to say in 2014 federalism was harassed with police and security. In 2015, we told Nigeria that was bad. There was need for us to condemn it. There was need for us not to go there anymore. But in 2018, we have chose to better on what the PDP did. These were things that were bad, we typically condemn and ask for the change. If your community is to better that which have been done, it needs to deceive Nigerians in 2015. And by 2019, we must expect similar things. It means we are living in a vicious cycle. It's like motion with that movement. Where do we go from here?
Big question. I'll pursue you there. I'm sure you also know the answer. Pastor Sereka, I'm sure some thoughts, welling up in your mind, because I asked the question, even though people would easily say the same people who were in PDP at the time felt dissatisfied, moved and formed an alliance or merged to form the APC as it were then, and became an integral part of the APC. Eventually they were able to capture power. Some say the circumstances of our living, of our existence as a people have gone worse. I remember vividly the chairman of the RAPC, reformed RPC, said that the cardinal objective or the reason they left or they are pulling out is because the indices of development that were promised to be bettered have gone worse. And this is the ground for their living. But I remember you saying that this is always about the politicians' selfish interest. Would you want to change your position on that?
No, I would not change my position. The reason is very clear. For me, I think if the children of Israel, while on their way from Egypt, and because of the difficulties they faced on their way, having to cross the Red Sea, hunger, having to eat manna in the wilderness and all that stuff. If they had hearkened to the voice of the very few amongst them that were crying and accusing Moses, if we had known, we would have stayed back in Egypt and not to come and die in the wilderness, they would not have gotten to the promised land. That is why I'm saying that Nigerians cannot afford to be fooled by whatever is happening now. Nigerians should not be fooled. Now, I'm saying this because, you see, for me, politicians can form any form of alliance they want to, because it's the nature of politicians to want to associate with one another, whether it is in PDP, whether it is in APC, whether it's in ROAPC, whether it's in UP, what do you call it? It's CUPP, that's the COP, that's CUPP.
It's CUPP,
yes,
yeah.
That's it. Under whatever alliance, I don't particularly care. All I'm saying is that, look, Nigerians should begin to know and begin to cipher what is real, and those who are coming wolf in sheep clothing. That's what I call them. That's how I see this whole arrangement. Nigerians shouldn't fall for it anymore. Furthermore, let me tell you this. I'm not particularly, if I sit down here and say that everything has been well with Nigeria from 2014, 2015 till date, 3 years of Buhari government, that everything is well with Nigeria. No. As my colleague said here, the insecurity is still there. It's still there. The means of livelihood, the way Nigerians live has not improved greatly. It has not. But will I, because of the challenges I'm facing on my way to the promised land, go back to Egypt and remain a slave? And that is my own key. So I will not change my perspective on the formation of political parties, even if they have genuine reasons, which they don't. Because I would, for example, let me just tell you the truth. I would prefer a new platform altogether. A new platform altogether. Coming to champion the cause and say, we are coming to change what these people are afraid to do. Not you bring, you are, for example, you are putting, I don't want to mention names, you are bringing people from 1983 who have been in politics since 1983. You are bringing all of them together again to form a party, an alliance, and you expect Nigerians to fall for it? I think we can't afford that. We cannot.
All right, Pastor Fiawe.
Yes.
What is the prospects of this alliance in view of the realities on the ground? The APC, as it were, has a new leadership led by former Edo State governor, who has also been talking tough. I read in the papers recently where he gave directive to 2 ministers to constitute the board or be sanctioned. And then he also made a statement that the elements of the opposition that are within the ruling party must be removed for the party to have a breather and stay on course. I want you to fuse all of this together in your perspectives.
Just to say very strongly, I believe as an individual that because we had missed our way in 2015 and the need for us to embark on a new journey, it's like a man who is coming from Onitsha and is heading to Lagos. He suddenly finds his way, having gotten to Benin City, he suddenly mistakenly found his way heading towards Ekpema Auchi down to Abuja. And when he gets to that point, as we found ourselves in 2015, there is need for him to take the reverse gear and embark to Lagos. He suddenly found himself when he got to Benin that instead of taking towards the Lagos route, it's on the Asaba. It's on the Asaba way again back to where he's coming from. No matter how far he has gone, it is not sufficient to say that because they have traveled on this journey, we will never get to the destination of Lagos. We must reverse back. I feel very strongly. I would have discarded this exploration of all the individuals because either you like it or not, they want to preside over our future which they will not be part of. They want to determine the fate of Nigerians when their days are numbered. They have created a situation in this country where life expectancy is not that certain. And as such, the prosperity which they promise of the future which they intend to give to us is a future which they will not be part of. They have no powers to determine our future which they will not be part of. We must rise up to the occasion. Let us say very strongly, particularly we are traveling in the current federal government, we are traveling with a team who do not have baggages. They are traveling with a team when they are identified to have to the votes within their midst are quick to identify them. Nigerians would have insisted that despite the pain, we must persevere to get there. I have really consistently with the emergence of the new chairman, the national chairman of the APC. He has a history of speaking so much and acting less. To my mind, it was wholly unnecessary to have gone to the public domain to give directives to ministers to do XYZ. Your letters of wanting to remove individuals from his comments from the current cabinet in relation to boards. Some of these boards are statutory boards. If their time has not expired, what was the base of wanting to remove them? And your removal is not on the basis that they are not qualified. It's simply because they are members of another political party. In my mind, that was playing to the dead gallery. Apparently, he wants to show to the Nigerian that just be appointed. There is need for me to tell them I'm fully in charge. I see no reason to come to the public domain to be issuing directives to ministers to do XYZ. They are not going to say political party. You want to have spoken to them internally and resolve those issues. You want to come to the public domain to give directive. You may come to the public domain if they have failed or flattered your directive. You communicate to the president. What the president? Let the party make their position known to the executive. The president who presides over the executive council, where these ministers are part of, to disseminate this information. Why play the role of Mr. President? Why play to the gallery? He wants to resume his propaganda machinery again. That is his stock in trade. Nigerians know him to act in that manner.
Let's not get personal with this, Pastor Viawe. Now, the alliance has been formed, and I believe that the nitty-gritty of the alliance are being sorted out.
Yes.
The question remains, is there any way this alliance can be a threat to the ruling party in the forthcoming election? Because I know that some highly placed individuals in some quarters, they've dismissed this alliance the same way it happened in 2014, 2015. Yes, Mr. Kelvin.
Yes, it's a threat. There's no gathering of human beings. There's no gathering of human beings anywhere against an established system that will not be considered a threat. It's only those who have not played politics for long that will tell you, wave it away with a wave of hand. But I will tell you that it's a big threat, and it's a wake-up call to the ruling party, to President Muhammadu Buhari, if he wants to remain the president of Nigeria, to wake up and begin to act, even if it's for the many few months of his administration, less than a year that he has more. The elections are just in February here. So for me, it's a big threat, because if you don't take it seriously, I will tell you that on May 29, 2019, a new president will be installed in this country, and Buhari will be going back to Daura. Be that as it may, I feel seriously, and I hold the view strongly, that there's still a lot of work to be done to fine-tune the coalition or the alliance that has just been formed. As we are talking now, you have several of them angling to become president. Just this morning I saw on the news that Jerry Ghana has
declared his presidential ambition.
Yes. Atiku is there, McAfee is there already, and these are strong and heavyweight politicians. So that means they have not done their homework. They've not done their homework. What it means is that after they've done the primaries for the presidency, as is common with Nigerians, some are going to be disgruntled. They are going to move. I don't know whether you're following me. So I think that MOU that they signed, that is just the first phase.
Okay.
They still need to go. They need to go back and fine tune, but they need to work very hard to be able to unseat President Muhammadu Buhari. They need to work very hard, because you see they have a structure that is not particularly well built. But the APC, whether you like it or not, is the party in power, is the party in government, and they have a network that is around the entire country that looks forward to the government of the day and say, look, we are in power, and that brings me to the position of Oshomole. Oshomole wasn't just talking. If anybody that has taken Oshomole for granted has always lived to regret it politically. Let me tell you why. Do you know the main reason, one of the main reasons why those who are forming the RAPC now, the reason they cried is that, look, President Buhari refused to empower them by giving them appointment in his government, and he has left the elements of PDP in government parastatals, in government agencies, those are supposed to be political appointees. Yeah. He has left them in governance. The way of doing it that worked for him, they have their followers, they are all without any form of employment or appointment. So Oshiomhole is playing a very fast one, saying, look, there are political positions available. The president has given you directive to swear in those boards and parastatals so that our people, our party members can have appointments.
So even if the boards, the tenures of those boards hasn't expired, so what happens under that circumstance?
No, for the president to tell them to reconstitute. Yes. That means those ones that have been asked to reconstitute, they must have been, those ones have expired already. Okay. I'm a lawyer. We don't sit down here and encourage anybody to those who have tenured employment, who have statutory employment, that you should go and you create problem for the government. Oh, sure. But for those, and I can tell you, sitting down here, there are a lot of boards and parastatals whose tenure have expired. They have not been reconstituted. So Oshiomhole is using that to tell them, those who are, please wait. There's something for you. Wait. There's something for you, and it's not for nothing. So that's a very strategic move that he has made, and he's doing it as a chairman. Okay. Okay. All right. If you just join us, it's Road to 2019 on Independent Television. One program you can count on to keep you abreast with all the happenings in the build up to the 2019 election. Well, I've got with me in the studio Barrister Kelvin Osemechai and Barrister Abraham Oviawe. Barrister Oviawe, many thanks again for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Talking about the prospect, because this is what this program is about today. Can we just dismiss this alliance with a wave of hand? It started with the RAPC formation. It was dismissed just before we could say Jack Robinson, and then there was an alliance. Even though we've also heard some political parties distancing themselves from that alliance. I've heard about the ADP. I've also heard about the Labour Party or so. We've heard of this, this distancing from some political parties. Yes.
Just to say very clearly that such kind of distancing will not be new, because most of the political parties have their own factions. And when one faction aligns with the MOU, the others will want to show recognition. So that maybe apparently the ruling party can also call them and align with them. They are into business. That's why these political jobbers will look for how to retire them, so that they can become entrepreneurs. It's either they go to the farm or look for other things to do. Let me say very strongly that this coalition is a threat to the ruling party, and the weight of the threat will be dependent on two very key factors. One, the quality of candidates they intend to identify, and two, the capacity of the candidate with respect to financial war chest. Elections in this country is hugely expensive. Nigeria has suddenly found itself involving in money politics. I am not a soothsayer. It will also play out tomorrow in Ekiti. Is the quality of money you have in your pocket that will hugely determine what number of votes you will apparently garnered. It has happened in several states. It happened in Edo. It happened in Ondo. It happened in Anambra. At the same time, many politics have played very substantial roles in elections in this country. So therefore, if this coalition have a sellable candidate, not one is part of the conglomeration of the ungodly or is a primitive thief and political gangster, you bring him, you withdraw him. It means that you have not created an unnecessary balance of terror. Because as we speak now, Nigerians are disenchanted. Nigerians are not happy. Because in 2015, you see, part of the challenges Nigerians have is that we are quite impatient. If Nigerians were patient people, and the leadership which were empowered by 2015 have showed quality. The EFCC who I identify corrupt individuals, the chairman have since been indicted by an agency of the same federal government, the DSS. So we have this controversy.
You can't say the EFCC corrupt individual. I didn't
say so.
Okay, what did you say?
I said the chairman of the EFCC
has been indicted.
Yeah, he was indicted, and the reports were everywhere. We were going to the Senate.
Okay.
The general secretary to the same government were indicted. Naira pension scam, was indicted, was sent home. The National Assembly wanted to, they are coming to investigate him. The Attorney General filed a motion in court, injunction restraining them from doing that. Putting all these controversies into perspective, it is easy for anybody to accuse the current ruling president. It will be very strongly, no man's an island, that the president as an individual, has a good heart, but he may just lack the capacity to drive. Nigerians wanted any other person, apart from the only party in 2015. The president made that had thought that in the last 3-4 years, we are not saying that he needed to involve in cosmetic development. We are not actually asking for that. We have not seen this kind of building structures, formidable structures that create a prospect to Nigerians that beyond 2019 ain't allowed to stay put. They have the capacity to bring about economic prosperity. And when these are not visible on the face of it as it were, and individuals under the roof, their rights are roundly violated. Complaints have been very huge with respect to the activity of the police. Only 2 days ago, we had the DIG saying he dispersed protesters because he didn't get permits. It means that he has done reading his books. It means very clearly that the police people didn't believe. Whereas the Electoral Act has said that the police will provide security for political parties involving in campaign. They are using the Electoral Act. Well, Supreme Court Authority has filed back at 2012. The APP and the NGP, where the have told us very previously that no police permit is needed for such rally. The DIG on challenge to the because we were telling the Nigerians that they did that because they didn't get clearance from the police. We feel that is a proper violation of their right to people assembly. And so, the thing is simply, do you think Nigerians will be at home that the year 2019, if this public administration is empowered to proceed, we will get our economic prosperity, our rights, we will be protected, and this coalition at this time, to sit these leaders in power.
By Sofia, no, hold on. I need you to withdraw that statement.
Okay.
You can't call those in power vandals. That's not fair. That's not fair.
From my point of view,
yes. But from your point of view, we are on public television.
Just to say very clearly, because Nigerians have been deeply bastardized in the last 3 years. Have been deeply bastardized. And anything that in this coalition, it is us in order. They do not hold over one as their flag bearer. One the public will discard. One an antecedent, a claim or a fair antecedent. And do not have, because you like it or not, you must get into the dance floor.
Okay, let me pause it there.
I'm sorry, Sonny.
Yeah.
I want to say that Nigerians have been bastardized. There are a lot of things that has happened in this government.
Well, but I think that's relative.
Yes,
it's relative,
yes,
right?
Yes, because you see, for me, I want to say that economically, because I have a couple of friends who are in the economic sector of the country, they will tell you that this country has done tremendously well. Economically, you might not see it on face value, but the structures economically, the economic structures, if you go to those in the banking industry, if you go to those in the manufacturing industry, if you go to even those in the agri sector of the economy, they'll tell you that this country has done very well. Let me tell you one thing. See, prior to 2015, this country was already on a downward slide. It is there. Our foreign reserve has never been so low since Nigeria started earning seriously from oil sales.
But the debt profile has risen.
Yes, no, there's no country in the world.
It's not.
There's no country in the world that wants to grow that does not acquire a huge debt profile, because you must fund your infrastructural development.
Okay.
Then how do you fund infrastructural development? Government alone cannot fund it. You go borrowing. Now, do you have the capacity to pay back? Yes. Look at our foreign reserve, almost $50 billion US dollars. That alone can last this country, give or take, for over 3 or 4 years. So that means what it tells you is that, look, the economy is growing. You might not see it now. Go and ask those who are in different sectors of the economy, those who do businesses. They will tell you that the economy is growing, but what is not growing and what people are angry about, and what I want to say this openly, is that, look, the idea of sharing money without work, that is why people are angry. If you are in the productive sector of this company, if you of this economy, if you are working seriously, I will tell you this, that those people, they are feeling the impact of their work. Nigerians, those who are actually producing, those who are in the, I have a couple of friends now who left their employments in the banking sector. They went into farming. As I'm talking to you now, they are ripping off seriously, because you know what, they've been able to get in touch or fine-tune into government intervention programs.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And they are enjoying it. On the security aspect, I want to say that, look, seriously, I totally agree with my colleague here that the government of the day has not done enough, and that is very paramount, because the first duty of any government is to protect the lives and property of its citizens. So in that regard, the excuses being made by the Mr. President that he's doing this, he's doing that, for me is not tenable. You can't come and sit down in Nassau Rock Committee to tell me that you sent your police IG to one place, he didn't go, your security chiefs, you didn't know that they didn't intervene on this or that. For me, that is a failure of leadership, and the buck stops on Mr. President's table, and he should accept it and tell us what he wants to do about the security situation in this country.
Okay.
Well, just to say that, while I do not want to join issues with the fact that the economic indices of this country have grown hugely, I want to dismiss it by saying that it is World Bank analysis, and it is an analysis being concocted by the business of this country. So let me tell you, how have this trickled down? Those who are complaining that money are not being shared at the bourgeois, we are talking about the average man on the streets who relies on the local government council to involve in some form of development. What has been, how has it trickled down the inflation? The economic is moving very well. The average man can afford 2 square meal. Yes, on their papers at the central bank and the World Bank, it could be doing very well. They don't know how they manipulate those things. But we respect to the average Nigerians who are telling the average Nigerian in the street that since 2015, Nigeria was almost dying, and that from the indices and the record as given by World Bank, that the economy is doing very well. And how has this, and you say you borrow for infrastructural development, I challenge this current federal government to show to Nigerian, because you must feel government from your closest point has need to be in those states and go to Abuja to feel the impact of federal government. I challenge the new current federal government to tell us, show us the infrastructure in the last 3 years, which their capital projects, their capital proposal in the budget have been trickled into. Even in Nigeria have to go well economically, it's only known to the president and his family. It's only known to the bourgeois, those are the ones of affairs.
No, just hold on. You cannot say it's only known to the president and his family. That's the highest authority in the land. I will demand that you withdraw that statement.
Yes, I will withdraw it by saying that it's only known to the ruling party.
Okay. I think that's a lot better. That's
power.
Even though that's still subjective.
I do not wait until you come and show me the book to see the economic prosperity in figures before I will agree with you. I must feel it. Is it by way of inflation? The inflation gone down? Transportation has it reduced? What are the social amenities? Section 14 2B says the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of governance. I challenge this administration to show to the Nigerians. Okay. If they have provided either security or welfare for the people, they have not. And as such, if they have not done that,
let me
Nigeria is not prosperous economically.
Let me proceed there. We're just on the verge of running up the program, Road to 2019 on ITV Satellite. Our last lap of our conversation will be on the Ekiti State governorship election. The people of Ekiti State come tomorrow, 14th July 2018, will decide who their next governor will be, who is the person that will take them to the next level. Of course, a couple of contenders for that position, the ruling party, the PDP in that state, the All Progressive Party, and so many other contenders. But we know, as is always the case, the people are expected to decide who becomes their next leader. Just yesterday, it was all over the news that the Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose was allegedly manhandled. He said so himself. He said he was manhandled, he was brutalized. We saw the interview that he granted the media, where he was talking from a very down-toned voice, so to speak, and that has attracted reactions both from the international community and back home. People have been calling on those in charge to ensure the election is free, fair, and credible. I've heard some people say in some quarters, I've also read that online, well, that in the last election, which brought Ayodele Fayose on board, things like this happened. People were brutalized, people were embarrassed, people were manhandled. And someone said, well, if that's what happened before, should we allow this culture of impunity to continue? That is the big question. We also recall that in the build-up to tomorrow's election, the ruling party has also held this primary, and the opposition party held this primary. We heard that the ruling party was preparing or going for its rally when security agents came and tried to disperse that. We also saw the DIG in charge of operations from Abuja saying the reason they did that was to avoid a breakdown of law and order, a breakdown in security. That's our major talking point on this conversation. Barrister Seneca, you follow the events leading to the election. Of course, it's not a time to campaign, that's over. But let's look at the issues that have come forward from Ekiti State, beginning with the allegations made by the state governor as a result of his confrontations with security agencies before their rally, which of course eventually, I don't know if it held.
I watched the interview given by the governor of Ekiti State, Mr. Ayodele Fayose, and I want to say that for a governor, I'm very disappointed with his conduct. The fact that the governor has immunity does not mean that, with profound respect to the position he occupies, that he should lose all sense of decency and all sense of decorum. Because you see, immediately you as a governor, you lose that. What do you expect of your followers? What you are telling them to do is that you can even do worse than what I have done. Now, the governor should not create a situation of tension and insecurity in his state. He will only be giving the federal government an excuse to bring and apply unnecessary force. Let me tell you the reason why. The president was going to campaign for his candidate. You have campaigned. The PDP leaders came to Ekiti State to come and campaign. There was no problem from anybody. The president was coming to campaign for the candidate of his party. First time, you said you were not going to go and receive him, which was a total breach of protocol. That the president didn't even worry about that. The next thing we heard was that all the commercial vehicles in Ekiti State, within Ekiti town, have been taken to government house and locked up, and taken to local government headquarters and locked up. I saw it on the internet. I saw it on the news. All the motorcycle riders took their motorcycle to government house, and they were all locked up. Now, that is a threat to the security of the president. Not minding whether it's a different political party with you. That is a breach of protocol. You are telling the president that, look, he's not the president of the country, and that you can intimidate and you can harass this person.
How does vehicles and bicycles or motorcycles being locked up?
Yes.
How does that translate to security threat?
No. What a movement of people? If there was an emergency, if the issues arose and then you needed to move people, what will happen?
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So you don't drag unnecessary attention and drama to yourself. That is why I fought Ayodele Fayose totally. His drama and antics have put Ekiti State in a very wrong position. Now, with respect to the conduct of the federal government, you see, there is no justification for you to deploy 30,000 policemen to Ekiti State when there are serious cases of insecurity all over the country. There are kidnappings everywhere. You say police don't have the equipment. There are herdsmen, farmers clash everywhere. You say police don't have the equipment. They don't have men.
So what are your expectations?
So my expectation is that, look, let the Ekiti people's mandates, let the Ekiti people's choice, let their choice reflect. Okay. Let their mandate be respected. Okay, that is my expectation.
Yeah, on the Ekiti election, as well,
I think my colleague have put the matter beyond doubt. With deepest of respect, has put the matter beyond that. Just to say that while I do not want to join issues with Fayose as an individual, the governor with respect to his actions, and I'm very disturbed with respect to the thinking of Nigerians. We had followed the social medias and response here and there, and persons are creating the impression that in 2014 that the PDP did same.
That's very wrong.
Did same to the then ruling APC.
Okay.
And my response is very simple. If they did same in 2014 and in 2015, Nigerians condemned what they did, and there was no for that change. So are you saying that we allowed your party to come into power so that you better what was done in 2014? Yes. Then in 2019 we think differently.
Okay.
So I expect that I want to beg the security agencies, and INEC allow the will of the people
to prevail.
Yes, because if we clamor for democracy, if we clamor for an egalitarian society, these are the process which heralds us into such egalitarian society.
All right, our time is up.
I expect
thank you.
something positive
That's our
violent-free
expectations from the state governorship election. The best of the best is what we expect in terms of its conduct. It's our program for this week. Big thanks to Barrister Obiawi, Barrister Semenkai.
Thank you very much.
My
name is Sonny Duke Okosun. Thank you for staying with us. Do have a great weekend.